This is what I wish someone had told me when I was 17 getting into the trades, and all the different things that I should have known before I did it that I just didn't know. Over the last 5 years of working myself to the bone, this is what I've learned. First thing you kind of want to make sure is that you're doing it for like the right reasons and you're not just jumping in the deep end because you have nothing else to do. I think a lot of people get caught up in the zeitgeist of the trades and the like lifestyle of it because they don't know what to do, and they just say, well, screw it, I got nothing better to do. And now here's the problem with that. If you're going into it without any real plan, if you're just a leaf in the wind, you are going to have a bad time because you're not going to be able to prioritize the development in your career that's going to get you where you want to go because you don't know where you want to go. So what I would recommend is you have to have a game plan. And this is just general advice. This is not for trades specifically, but trades are the most egregious example of getting sucked into the black hole that is being a blue collar worker. Like every single guy that works construction does the same thing. They smoke cigarettes, they gamble, they hit the lottery, they get 30 billion Monster Energies from the gas station, and they are Tommy Tough Knuckles. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the life you want, because that's a life of cope. That's a life of not valuing yourself and abusing your body to be like moderately financially successful versus being valued and being paid for your skills, which is where you want to be. You don't want to be the guy that's 45 and still on the tools and never worked his way up. You want to be the guy who's 23, 24, who really is paying attention. And by the time you're 25, you have your own truck and your own tools and you're running your own job sites. That's the guy you want to be. And you can be that guy. But the problem is when you don't have a plan, you just get swept up in the momentum and you just actually wake up one day and you're just gonna be 40. If you don't make decisions for yourself, someone else is gonna make those decisions for you. And when someone else makes those decisions for you, like your boss or a mentor, those people, if there's a profit incentive for them, do not have your best interest at heart. They have their best interest at heart, and they are going to do whatever is necessary to kind of lead you along down the primrose path to building their kingdom and their vision and their dreams while they sit at home and take sales calls and you do all the work. That's what they're going to do. You want to be that guy. You want to actually put yourself on a path where you're not the grunt worker forever. And that is the difficult part. That is the part where you get caught up in substance abuse and cope strategy to get through the tough times. Because let's be honest, when you're beating yourself to a pulp to try and do manual labor, there's going to be tough times. And I think a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't realize the depth of the struggle that is trades, because it's kind of like there's this culture of who can out macho the other guy. There's this one up culture of who has had it worse, or who's done the most crazy shit, or who's worked the longest, or who is the toughest guy, tough as nails, who comes in at 4:45. Like, it's all this bullshit, and it's like, this is the game that the corporate overlords want you to play so that way they can leverage that status without giving you any actual compensation for whatever stupid routine that you have to show up to the work site 45 minutes early when you're not really getting paid for it. Like, that is stupid. Don't subscribe to that. Don't work with people who do that shit, because you are going to waste your life chasing after this weird approval of the group from older, more experienced guys that are going to beat on you for having soft hands and not having the grit. At the end of the day, they are actually slaves. They are actually indoctrinating you into their slave mindset because that's how they've coped. They've actually coped with reality by priding themselves on how much they're suffering, where you should cope with reality by not suffering and by developing skills and leveraging them to create value. Don't let these people convince you just because they're older than you that they actually know more. Maybe practically in a sort of skill-based doing the work kind of way they know more than you, but never take advice from somebody that you wouldn't want to trade lives with. A lot of these guys, they're miserable, they're divorced, their kids don't like them, they're in debt, they're gamblers, they drink alcohol all the time, and they're gonna give you some wisdom. They're gonna impart their wisdom on you to say, listen buddy, when I was your age, I thought the world was all sunshine and rainbows too, but then I woke up one day and I realized nobody's gonna fucking change and the world is just shit and you better get used to it and never complain about it because nobody wants to hear that. And that kind of like struggle porn mentality of like David Gogginsing your way through life. It's just, the world is all sunshine and rainbows. Like, the problem is people just get caught up in their 8th grade level coping ability with reality, and they're too afraid to stand up for themselves. People are too afraid to ask for what they need. People are too afraid to stand up for themselves and take a stand and, speak their mind to the people in power. Like, people don't want to have that conversation with their boss where they say, listen, boss, like, you're working me too hard. I'm miserable. Can you please change things? They don't want to have that discussion. Why? Because what is their boss going to tell them? Their boss is just going to communicate to them, your needs are not important. Your well-being is not important. I'm paying you, so I have any and all right to treat you whatever way I please. Subtly, people will explain to you that you're not important. Your well-being is the least important thing. The most important thing is getting the job done by any means necessary. That is some bullshit. Stand up for yourself and work with people who value you exclusively, and don't be afraid to walk away, because let me tell you something. If you have a good attitude and you're coachable, anybody will give you an opportunity, especially if you're hardworking, diligent, on time. If you wake up on time, get to work on time, work hard, are not a jackass, are not retarded, and respectful, you can get a job anywhere. You don't need to hang around these losers, low lifes that are ruining and making your life miserable. You can call up any company. You can find anybody. You just have to make a few phone calls. You can find another job. But what you can't find is another life once you've succumbed to the bullshit mentality of just David Gogginsing your way to being a crack addict. You can't undo that time that you've wasted, but you can find another job and you can find better people to work with. Thanks everybody so much for watching that video. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I know when I was younger, I was a little bit too impressionable. I was a little bit too eager to try and impress some of the people that were around me, and so I can definitely see where that has led me in my life, and it hasn't completely derailed my life, and I'm lucky enough that I had a head on my shoulders that I was able to see into the future enough to change directions. But I did end up wasting a lot of time trying to fight a battle that I was never going to win, which was trying to make people happy that were really only ever going to be happy with making more money at, the cost of my well-being. And hopefully that, you can learn from some of my mistakes and just generally like enjoy your life more. I think a lot of people are so convinced that their life has to be so grim, but really it's actually just this kind of mentality that's taken our culture by storm, because we've all kind of disconnected so deeply with the heart of community. We don't have community anymore. We're all so trapped in these individual little bubbles. We all feel so alone that we just kind of give up on trying to enjoy life and just start grinding. And that's why I think I see all these influencers coming through about get rich quick and all this stuff. We need to get meaningful quick. We need to get happy quick. We need to get a life that's worth living quick. Fuck the money, dude. Money is worthless. Let me tell you, like, however much money you have, you're never going to have enough. You're always going to want more. So definitely in life, prioritize trying to enjoy yourself rather than torturing yourself to get where you're trying to go, because you'll get there, you'll accomplish everything you set out to get, and you're not going to be happy. And you're just going to be miserable as the day that you started. It's like this quote that I heard, and it says, only a slave justifies their existence by their utility. And it's so true. Like, we are so caught up in productivity that we forgot about like being human. Thanks everybody so much for watching, and please take a minute to like, subscribe, comment, let me know what your thoughts were if you have any other ideas, and hopefully this helped you and you found this valuable, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.